Attention, functional fitness athletes or barbell athletes, every time you work out, your body is telling you secrets that you can use to then improve your performance. That's right, your body is telling you no evals, no money needs to be spent. Your body's telling you what needs to be done. This series is going to give you an insight to those little tips that your body's already telling you. Your body's telling you secrets, and today you're going to learn. We're going to be talking about a back squat and why this shift happens when you're doing a squat. So you get under the bar, you unrack it, you're going for that squat, and you find yourself shifting to one side, coming back out, fighting to find center, and then finishing out that rep. We're going to learn today what is creating that movement to happen, and then more importantly, how can you start to address it to make sure that you're having a nice symmetrical, efficient back squat. We know you've seen the videos for hip mobility, ankle dorsiflexion. We're not discounting those, but there's more to the story with the squat shift. Brandy's gonna be showing us her favorite assessment, the Copenhagen. Why are we doing this movement? We wanna look at the adductor, the adductor, better known as the groin. Why? Because the adductor magnus is responsible for more than 50% of the torque to get in and out of a squat. A squat is an adductor dominant base movement. This test lets us isolate a little bit more into the adductors to see what is one side doing versus that other side. Brandy's gonna go ahead and switch over to the other side. She's doing the maximum amount of reps she can do on each side so that we have an objective number to compare. We wanna make sure that her foot's not rolling up towards the ceiling. That's letting us know that she's shifting away from the adductors to try to use the hamstrings. We're not testing the hamstrings in this. We want to see what is the adductor doing in this test that, again, is one of Brandy's favorites. After the Copenhagen adductor assessment, we want to start to look at the pattern of a squat, but we still want to look at one side versus the other. So we're going to use a Bulgarian split squat, 5 rep max. You can see the weight is going to be in the opposite arm of the stance leg. With that, we're challenging the opposite side. The right side core wall is being challenged by the weight being in the left arm. We're going to switch sides. Brandy's going to keep working until she finds that 5 rep max per side. The other reason we're using this Bulgarian split squat is you can see that there's a little bit of a chest lean going forward when Brandy's decelerating through the eccentric phase, which is similar to what's going to be happening in that back squat pattern. After the Bulgarian split squat, we're going to go to our homemade force plate setup. We have a weight scale and then a plate of equal height next to it. Brandy's going to be actually back squatting in this assessment. So we have the bar loaded up. She's going to step onto the weight scale and onto the plate. She's going to start to descend into the squat. We're going to look and see what's the number at the bottom of the squat as she's driving through it to get an idea of what's the force that she's putting into the ground. Brandy would then re-rack the weight. We would switch the scale to the other side of the foot, and then we would have both numbers to look at to say how much force is she putting through one side versus that other side. Shifting in your car is cool. Not so cool when it's happening in a squat, but the good news is now you have 3 assessments that you can use to help determine why is this potentially happening. Takeaway number 1, we want to look at the adductor, and we're using a Copenhagen to do so. Squatting is an adductor dominant movement, not hamstring, not glute. A lot of muscles are working, but the adductors are the most dominant in a squat, so we want to make sure that we're looking at them. If you find that you have an asymmetry one side versus the other side, or that they've become deconditioned, it's a good time to use some isolated adductor strengthening to then bring it back to the squat. Second one we looked at was a Bulgarian split squat. We want to look at right side versus left side versus right side. We want to make sure you have less than a 10% difference before we move that to the bigger pattern of the back squat. And then the third assessment, we used our homemade force scale to see how much output is being put into the ground, one leg versus the other one. And again, we want those numbers to be about 10% different. Hoping this helps to improve your back squat performance. If you are liking this content, don't forget to share it with a friend and subscribe and leave us a comment below.